the ocean was a really safe place for me, even though it can be deathly and scary. But that's the place where I go to. I call it just washing off the day. Yeah, the ocean's that place for me to you just wholeheartedly concentrate on you.
Yeah.
Everything. There were times where it was real tough. Mum always said that we've got to have a house near the beach, because if the boys are in the ocean, they're out of trouble. Her just making those decisions changed our world.
I met a gypsy.
For me, especially in my early years, I was like front row and center with guys like Andy Irons and Kelly Slater, and seeing them, how switched on they could be. Like, being really honest, there's a lot of times where it was pretty much a 2-person tour.
Yeah.
And everyone else was just creating the fluff that goes with it so those guys can just smoke everyone. Yeah. But that was so good, and they were so switched on. When they were switched on, untouchable.
What was different between Kelly and Andy? Because it's like they both could do the same thing. So like the tip of the spear is winning a world title, or like winning Pipeline, or like winning an event. So the end point is the same, but they almost seemed like two different people. Like, were they super different? Were they more similar than people think?
No, they were really different.
Yeah.
Andy surfed on all emotion. All emotion. Like, you could be his best mate. He put on that wet shirt, and he'll bring something up where you might have beaten him in Scrabble, or you might have beaten him in this or that. And he's like, fuck you. Yeah. And just wanted to kill you. Like, proper kill you. Like, I remember being in a heat and he's swearing at me. I'm like, mate, we're staying in the same room. Where Kelly would just go really, I guess, deep within himself, and he just had this, he's just got this competitor in his own brain that he's trying to beat the whole time, and so the way that he'd just want to not only beat the person that he was against, but he wanted to beat himself so bad that he would just embarrass everyone else because he was so good. But those two, very different chalk and cheese. It's sort of competed really differently. I'd always do my best not to piss Andy off before a heat, because you'd just be super, super nice, because he would start forgetting
all the ways that he hates you.
Yeah. But then, he was just next level. Like, and Kelly's just one of those freaks, man. He was just so naturally gifted. Yeah. And just truly embarrass people.
From what I know of Kelly too, though, he takes that same energy into golf. He takes that same energy into jiu-jitsu. Like everything. Casey Stone is very similar. Yeah. Like, Casey's got that mind where, like, you playing golf with him, it's like, my angle of attack, my club face was this, it's so zoned in on literally everything that he's doing, and like that's such a weird genetic mutation, or like whatever's going on there.
I don't know. I'm pretty competitive too, but like when I was in my competitive years, I would be like that. If I wasn't winning, I was like, fuck this, I'm not playing. But Kelly's he's just everything that he does. Even if it's conversation, sometimes he wants to try and beat you in that. It's like, mate, come on. But no, I don't know. There's some freak athletes and freak people that's just the way they're wired, and that's how they get through life. And it's pretty incredible to see when it all comes together and they're on point in their thing. Yeah,
I think Pipeline, when Kelly won 50 years old, like at that point, you just... That's like literally him in one day, really. Yeah, and you could, like, even speaking to the, I was speaking to Seth, who got second in that event. Yeah. And he reckons he paddled out, and he said that Kelly wasn't even there. He was just in,
And that's the Kelly of old. Like, we used to deal with that day in, day out.
Really?
And, he would it just felt like he was just on a different planet.
Yeah.
And he
just so like internal almost.
Yeah, but he will still talk or whatever, but he's just, things just happen and it feels like he was just moving the ocean or,
yeah.
you know, or like, yeah. He would be talking to lips and stuff if they're barreling over him. Like, things just happened, and it was so cool to see that once more.
Did you have many of those moments? Like, I remember in your book you were talking about there was a heat in France, and it was like pretty important for world title implications. And then there was like, I'm pretty sure you were saying that was a heat where you felt like your brother was like literally just sending you waves and sending you, like, you won that heat and everything just fully lined up perfectly in that way. Like, there was dolphins in the lineup, like the whole deal.
Yeah, that was in Brazil, yeah.
Oh, Brazil, sorry.
Yeah, and it's sort of, sometimes you just have those moments and you're in the zone and things just happen. Like, you don't think. You just, like, some people call it the zone, some people call it flow.
Yeah.
There's so many different names for it, but you just, the brain just gets left on the beach and you're just feeling and reacting and just not thinking. And, you know, to get into that situation, it's, oh man, there's no better feeling, especially when you're surfing or competing, because everything just happens around you.
It's so easy at that point.
Easy, yeah. That was like a goal that you would always try and get to. And the moment you start thinking about it, you're out of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a minute thing.
Was there many times that it happened for you? Like, were you a dude that went into that place like regularly, or?
Look, it probably happened, off the top of my head, probably maybe 15, 20 times throughout my career.
Yeah.
And things would just come together. You wouldn't feel like you wouldn't feel that great paddling out for a heat, and then all of a sudden it would just click in and you're just like, oh, this is amazing, you know?
But you almost can't talk about it or think about it or like in the moment even to yourself, because it's like you just don't want it to go away.
Yeah, no. And as soon as you do start thinking about it, it's gone and you're like, I want to get back there. Like, I guess it's sort of like heroin for a drug addict, you know, they want to get back to that first initial hit.
Yeah.
So it's such an incredible feeling, and it's addictive to get there, but it only happens when I don't know the science behind it or whatever, but it doesn't happen that many times.
I was talking to Sam Hill on the podcast, and he's like from Perth, downhill mountain bike dude. He was like the GOAT, man. Like, this dude, he come on the scene, no one knew who the fuck he was, and he just like went over to Europe, and he was winning races where guys were winning by like 0.2, you know, half a second, and he showed up and started beating dudes by like 10 seconds. Wow. Just from out of nowhere. And he was saying that he remembers, like, it's funny, so you threw out like 15 to 20, and he's like 8. I had 8 runs where I was just not even there, just fully like watching myself do the gnarliest shit, and he was at 8 times.
Wow.
Like, it's so funny that people at that, you know, super, super high level have like a fairly vivid recollection of like the times where you're like, that was it. Yeah,
because it doesn't happen that often. And you come in and you feel so good. You just want to stay out there forever. And but also too, there would be different feelings with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be like an aggressive feel with it, or sometimes it would just be like pure flow, like light, out of body. And then other times it would just be like laughing your ass off. Like, it would always be different. It's, I don't know how to, if we could bottle it up and give it to people, it would be amazing.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.